Good afternoon, class and teacher of my public speaking course. Today, I'll be going over the importance of representation in comic books and comic book related media. Which is why I'm dressed like Kevin Smith, as he's about to talk about some of his favorite comic book projects. Starting off, I'd like to address the point of representation when it comes to kids. Now, Laura Thomas of Edutopia published an article back in 2016 listing some of the reasons why kids might benefit from having heroes that look and come from similar backgrounds as them. One of the first points of that article was seeing and being, which is that these kids can see a hero and feel like they could be just as heroic and brave as these heroes themselves, knowing that coming from the same possibly rough backgrounds that the characters did, that they could also rise to the occasion and be something better than they might already be. And I think that's a really powerful thing, and especially when kids who might need the self-esteem the most. Secondary to that, Vibe published an article about the importance of black creators, those being writers, artists, and all the other things that make a comic book a comic book. Now, there's a bevy of writers in Marvel and DC, of course, most of them being white, but there's still a few minority writers and artists that are on a few projects, but not as much as their white counterparts. And now, having these people in the medium allows for diverse voices and ideas to be heard, and allows for different kinds of stories to be told. One of my favorite of recent years has definitely got to be Excellence, written by... Oh, I forgot who it was written by, but I know the art was by Carey Payton, and he's a black man. I know the writer is also a black man. And it's definitely one of the better stories because it's about a society of magicians that mostly consists of black people. And that hasn't been something that we've seen often. And it's a very good story, and I highly recommend everyone goes out to read it. And of course, there's some detractors of the idea of representation in comic books, saying that the books are becoming far too political, or, the race aspect of them is far too politicized and things like that. This would be the Comicsgate movement. And of course, initially I was on board with it. I thought, these things are too pandery, especially when it came to books like America by Gabby Rivera, which I still think is very bad, but still has the right to exist, much like every other kind of comic there is. But the problem with the Comicsgate movement is that, for the most part, it's been, since its inception, I suppose, it's been ran by, bigots and people who might have some more hateful beliefs, like, what's his name? He was a former favorite artist of mine, Mr. Ethan Van Sciver. I really like his art still, but his beliefs and his politics and ideas are very bad. And I guess they're valid to an extent for that side, but for everyone else who wants to see comics move forward, it has to be better than that. And I believe that can also stretch to movies. Vulture published a really good article about how Into the Spider-Verse really changed animation in its own kind of way. Like mixing new kinds of techniques of 3D and 2D art alongside the fantastic story, mixing multiverses together. And I think that was pretty fun. Plus, it starred a black kid as the black/Puerto Rican lead. And I think that's really good, and it serves as a way to break the ceiling, to show that representation can be important. So, in conclusion, I'd just like to say, we need more minorities and people in the comic book industry, even if, people don't read comics as much as they did in the past. Because it's my favorite medium, and I know it's a lot of people's as well, especially because they enjoy the movies with the degree of money that they're making. So, if anything, I would implore everybody to maybe pick up a comic of a minority artist or writer and, give it a shot, enjoy it, tell your friends, and, keep reading. Oh no.